No, man, but you got to keep going. What am I going to do, quit? That's not an option. You got to keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it? You make it work for you. You never give up, man. That's my philosophy.
Hey, gardeners. Hope you're all having a great week out in your gardens. Welcome to my little weedy potato and squash patch here, where we've got spaghetti squash. There's a few more right over there. Right up front here, we also have Armenian cucumbers, although I think this is the only one, well, I mean, at least that big. I think you see another little baby over here getting ready to blow up here real soon. But all is well out here in the garden. Maybe a little treatment for some powdery mildew, but that's all right. We've got Farmer Nick today, as well as the Alchemy of Gardening. All right, everybody, let's get growing.
Yikes. Welcome, all my passionate plant people and garden enthusiasts to the Let's Get Growing show right here on the Urban Gardener channel. I'm Enoch. I'm your host today. We've got a great show for you here today. We've got joining us just a little bit later on in the show, Nick from Farmer Nick is joining with us on the show today for our feature conversation. And we've got Jan from the Alchemy of Gardening coming up here in just a little bit for our Are You Following Me segment. So really excited to talk to these great guests today. Thank you all so much for being here with us today. And if you can, let's go ahead and yeah, let's do that. Let's click that thumbs up, hit the like button there, as well as subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Hit that bell notification to be notified of all of our upcoming videos and live streams right here on the Urban Gardener channel. And definitely share with all your friends. Let your friends know all about the Let's Get Growing show live here every Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern, and that's around about 7 p.m. for those of you over in the UK and all of that as well too. So right on. Big, huge shout out to all of you who are joining with us on the replay. Thank you so much for coming and joining with us here on your time. It's always great to have you here with us whenever you can show up here for the Let's Get Growing show. If you are here, Team Replay, definitely drop into our description down below, or comment section down below this description, and let us know you're here. Let us know what you've got growing on in your gardens. And yeah, let me know all about what's happening there in those awesome gardens. Are you harvesting up a bunch of things this time of year? And just let me know about all of that sort of stuff, or just drop in and say hello. I'd love to hear from all of you there. And yeah, if you are here with us live on the show right now, join in the conversation, jump into our chat. And we've got our roll call segment coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Yes, this is where we give a big shout out to all of you who are joining with us here on our live stream. So definitely drop into that chat there. Let us know where you're growing from, what you got growing on in the garden, just like all of our Team Replay, except for we'll give you a big, huge shout out here on our roll call segment coming up here in just a minute. And yeah, and if you can and you have any questions for our guests, definitely drop those into the chat as well, and we just might feature those right here on the show. And if you got any donations for the show, we always appreciate any sort of donations you might have. We've got links down below to our direct donation apps like Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal. So we appreciate all that you can contribute to the show, plus all of our other show links for our other social media and our contributors. And most importantly, our wonderful, awesome guests who are joining with us here today. We've got links for them down below. If you can go and check out those links, go and subscribe to all of their stuff, and find a post or a comment or something like that, and leave them a comment and let them know that you saw them here on the Let's Get Growing show. I really appreciate it when you guys do that. Thank you so much. Right on, everybody. Hope all and everything is going all right for you. Like I say at the beginning of this show, out in your gardens this week. It is a really, really warm time period. I was kind of talking about this last weekend on the show, is that I was facing some 100-degree weather. So it's just been survival time for us out here in our garden spaces this last week, just making sure that everything stays hydrated and is able to make it through the growing day. And yeah, that just means we got to get out there a little extra watering, I like to make sure I get out early to get them prepared for the day and everything. But then there's this point, especially in 100-degree, you get 95 and up, and plants are really starting to get weary. They just, and you'll notice leaves will start going limp and all of that. And I like to get out there and give them a little cool off in the afternoon and give them some more supplemental water towards the mid-afternoon, and just so they can finish the day up right. A little cool off, if you will, during these hotter times of the week. So, just paying attention to a lot of that sort of stuff so that we're not especially letting our containers, we've got containers all over our spaces, and those are the biggest things that we're keeping an eye on too during these real big heat waves, is making sure that these containers aren't drying out. There's nothing worse than a dried out container and your soil's gone hydrophobic, and you gotta, it takes a lot to get it to suck that water back up and rehydrate, and we just don't want to let that happen. So getting out there during these really hot days, again, I like a good warm hot summer day. I love summer over all of the different seasons. I'm just one of those kind of people. I love the heat, all of that sort of thing. So I'm never really going to complain when it comes down to it. But man, when you get a few of those 100-degree days stacking on each other, it could get to be a little bit much. But especially for the plants, so we're out there making sure we're getting them taken care of, and ourselves as well. These hot days, you got to make sure you're keeping yourself hydrated as well too. Think about yourself, get plenty of water and all of that while you're out there tending to those plants. Right on. So we've been doing this the last couple of weeks. I should have made a fun little bumper little video for it or something, but the last couple of weeks we've been talking about pumpkin watch. So last week, here I'll just show you a couple of pictures from last week. We have our big giant Dill Atlantic pumpkins that we're growing out in our back alleyway space. So it really isn't a very big space at all, but we are attempting to grow the biggest pumpkin that I've ever grown. And this is last week. This is our first fruit that we got. As you can see, last week it was just starting to get a little orange there at the flower end. And so, and then here's our secondary fruit. It was just a little guy there too. Still wasn't too sure about whether or not, at this stage yet, whether it's going to hold on or be our secondary fruit for our second vine, but it's doing pretty well. So this is this week out in the patch. And we're going to go ahead now, as I've mentioned too. We've been waiting a little bit until these two main fruits really kind of got to an appropriate size where I was confident enough that they were going to hold on to their vines and they would be our growing fruits. And then any other fruit after these ones, we will be taking off the plants so that we can get the plants to focus its energy onto our big fruit that we have. As you can see right there, opening right in the front, that's our first fruit there. And again here, this is last week. So this was last week and this is this week. Yeah. As you can see, that orange is really spreading across from the flower end all the way heading up towards the top of the fruit there. And I'd say we're at the point where it's like pretty much doubling in size. It's about twice as big as it was last week. And our secondary fruit that we had, this was last week again. And this is this week. Or here, let's get a little bit closer. There we go. So yeah, it's really starting to swell up now too. I would say about double the size. Both of them are about doubling in size within the week. And again, big enough now too where I'm pretty confident that it's going to be our main fruit for that vine in particular. We've got two different vines, and our first main fruit and our second main fruit looks like they're good to go. We're going to be taking off the rest of the fruits, and we're going to be pumping all that energy into those main fruits, and hopefully get a chance at breaking my own personal best record, which is 137 pounds. Now, I know this is just a personal backyard garden record of my own. I only attempted to grow these big pumpkins in one season. This was several seasons ago. We got our 137 pound, and I will say that 137 pound ended up being our secondary fruit, because the first one, like in this situation we're doing here, it broke off and had a problem on the vine, so I had to take it off, and we grew that secondary one, and we still ended up with 137 pounds, which is great. It's not going to compete like in any of the competitions, maybe a local city competition or something, but you get into your big county fairs and your big state fairs where they got these big, large, giant pumpkin competitions, and you got folks, like I said, like a county fair, you got to have at least 500 plus, maybe even more. And, state fairs and, 1,500 pounds, maybe more, and then again, you want to vie for a world record, you're going to have to get close to 3,000 pounds. I think the record was broken. It's been broken actually a couple of times over the last few seasons. A gentleman from Minnesota broke the record a couple seasons ago. And then last year, we had some twins from the UK broke the record this last year as well too. Some 2,800 something pounds, maybe close to 2,900 pounds. But the gentleman in Minnesota who broke the record a couple of years ago, I follow him on social media, and he's been growing some that he thinks he might break that 3,000 mark. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe that record will go again this year. But all right, everybody. Have you jumped into the chat there? Have you let us know what's going on and growing on? Because it's time for roll call.
My name is Kevin. Yeah. That is my name. Yeah. They call me Kevin. Yeah. Because that's my name. Roll call.
All right. Roll call time. This is the time where we give you, the audience, a shout out here at the top of the show. So if you're here joining with us live right now, drop into the chat there. Let us know what you got growing on, where you're growing from, all of that sort of stuff into the chat there, and we'll give you a big huge shout out here. And first and foremost, we've got to give a shout out to our good friend and chat facilitator Jay Dixon, the J-Bot, joining us from Huron County, Midwestern Ontario, in the lee of Lake Huron. Keep an eye out in the chat for links and further discussion into the things that we're talking about today. And right on, let's see here, we've got Mike, it's Mike, right on, joining us from North Alabama, Zone 8. Thank you. Also known as White Beard Bear, right on. That's great. It says, cool, it was fun to look at different people outside my hot zone. Okay, awesome. Janet McDonald joining us. Hello, fellow shade-seeking gardener. Shade, exactly. We was seeking that this last week for sure. It was hot around here. I bet it was hot from sunny central Texas on the rocky, alkaline, dry edge of Hill Country, Zone 9A. Thank you, Janet, for being here with us today. Got our friend Rob from Rob's Allotment Gardening, Rob's Attic. Good day from sunny and hot UK, Leicester. Pronounced Leicester. Is that right? Did I say that right? I don't know. My American English might not get the pronunciation correct. Kevin, how are we doing? Right on. He says, taking a break. Major thunderstorms rolling in. Yikes, yikes, yikes. We got our friend Chad from Down Home Backyard Gardening. How are you doing, Chad? Great to have you here. We got our other moderator, Adam Burley, joining us from Central Point here in Southern Oregon. Yep, right up the road from me here in Southern Oregon here. Dusty Flats joining with us here. Hello, sunny day in Wisconsin and about to go out soon to harvest and then get preserving. Fall brassicas also going out. Busy times. Yeah, especially it's that time we're thinking about our fall garden as well too. So not only are we harvesting a bunch of stuff, we've also got to get a lot of seedlings and things started as well too. Keep that rotation going into the next season. Got Meg's Edible Landscape with us. Thank you, Meg. Awesome to see you here. Meg's Edible Landscapes. Yes, indeed. Kevin, I'm doing an experiment. I'm going to be seeding a section of the garden with white Dutch clover to use as a winter cover crop. Has anybody done this? Oh, have you done that? What were your results? Big Will Dog in the soil. Hey, good to see you. EE2201, good afternoon from Ohio. And I've been having a great season so far. Yes, better than expected season, man. And when you got a better than expected season, that's a great season. I'm telling you, that's my case over here. Expectations were pretty low and everything is exceeding those expectations. It's really awesome. Dusty Flats in the chat as well. We might get some rain Sunday, Monday. Have to get everything sowed and transplanted. Awesome. David from Bowtie Life in the Garden joining with us. Triple G greetings, global gardeners from the heart of Old Destin, where pomegranates are sizing up, grapes are almost ready, and another delicious season just ahead. Grapes. Yeah, I gotta get, and maybe I should have showed a video of that at the beginning of the show, but grapes off of my grape vine, first grapes I've gotten off of it, and there are these really great blueberry grapes I got from Dave Wilson Nurseries through our sponsor IV Organic, and they are delicious. Oh my gosh, they're so good. I can't wait and get these things pruned right this off season and then get even more this next season. Big Will Dog in the Soil says it's in the upper 70s here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Got some harvesting to do today and at least one video to get started on as well. Awesome. Work on them videos. Joe from Muddy Puddles Farm joining us from over in Cornwall. Awesome, Joe. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. And Bowtie says, and yes, I am here watching from the beginning as we are wrapping new cabinet shelves with shelf liner as we're moving into them today. Woohoo! Yes, it's great to see that project coming along for you there. Look to Nature Homestead. Hey, Green Thumbs, I'll be catching the replay, doing some maintenance on my church. Have a blessed day. Excellent. Be sure to jump into the comment section on that replay. Look forward to seeing you there. Look to Nature. Thank you for being here with us today. Chad says, we need to hydrate ourselves also. Yes, indeed. That's right. Very important. Know your body and go inside when you need to. That's right. Don't overdo it out in these really super hot days. We can get lost in our garden spaces and not be thinking sometimes. And then next thing you know, especially as we're getting up and down, and you know what it's like sometimes when you're getting up and down and you get lightheaded and all that, you get it even worse when you get dehydrated out there. So stay hydrated, be careful. Get that rest from the midday sun if you can. Big Will Dog says, tomatoes, peppers, and watermelon cantaloupes will be ready soon. Awesome. TJB Bowman, afternoon, diggers of dirt or soil. Yeah, that's right. I prefer soil, but soil, living, our living stuff. Yes, exactly. But great to have you here. Thanks for joining with us today. Dusty Flat says, need to dig a few hills of spuds and potatoes, O'Brien and fries preserved. That's right. Excellent. And let's see here. Muddy Puddles Farm says we have started a hose pipe ban today. Luckily, it doesn't apply to private water supplies and use for animal care. Oh, wow. That's interesting. I wonder what that's all about. Let's see here. TJ Bowman says also North Alabama, but I'm zone 7B, barely in the 90s. Ooh. Well, that's nice and cool for what we're dealing with right around here. And Michael says, I'm on my staycation 5 days for my birthday. Happy birthday, Michael. Awesome, awesome. Great to have you around for your birthday week here. Thank you. We've got Paul from Guten Gardening. Hello, hello. Eddie joining us. Somebody say hi, Eddie. Excellent, excellent. Frank's with us as well, too. The solo cup plants are hitting 10 feet. Oh, wow. Wow. That's pretty great. That's pretty great. Well, right on, everybody. Thank you so much for jumping in for our roll call today. If you didn't get mentioned today, continue to jump into the chat with us throughout the show, and we'll feature your comments and all of that there on the bottom of the screen, especially your questions for our guests coming up here in just 1 minute. Let's take our first break, and we'll be right back for Are You Following Me?
Let's get growing live gardening community. I'm Charles Malky, biologist and co-founder of Ivy Organic brand products. Ivy Organic is based on whitewashing, a time-tested way to protect plants from summer sunburn, winter sun scald, pests, transplant shock, and environmental stresses. Unlike latex or tar-based products that crack, peel, and leave residue on your soil indefinitely, Ivy Organic is truly organic and a healthier alternative. It dries on porous, allowing plants to breathe and heal naturally without rotting. Also ideal for protecting your pruning and grafting wounds. Available in white for maximum reflection or natural tones like brown, green, gray, and grayish. Ivy Organic protects while blending beautifully with your landscape. Choose from the whitewash oil-free formula or the 3-in-1 plant guard made with natural oils to help repel insects and rodents. Protect your plants the smart, organic way with Ivy Organic. Learn more at ivorganics.com and wishing you all happy gardening.
Hi gardeners, I'm Brandy, the Suburban Gardenista, and I'm here today with your garden trivia question for this week. Your question for today is, what is the purpose of deadheading? And your options are A, to encourage more blooms, B, to stop seeds from spreading, C, to encourage the plant to focus energy on root growth, or D, to keep the garden tidy. Let us know what you think in the chat, and I'll be back a little bit later in the show with the answer.
All right, all right. Do you know the answer to Brandy's trivia question? Drop into the chat. Let us know what you think. And a big, huge thank you to our really awesome sponsors, Ivy Organic over at ivyorganic.com. Go over there and check out and buy yourself some of that 3-in-1 plant guard, a definite must-have for all garden sheds out there. Use our promo code GROW10, GROW10, to get 10% off while you're shopping there at ivyorganic.com. And did you get a chance to check out last week's shows? We had really great shows last week. I'm telling you, last Saturday, we had on with us Jennifer Jewell, author and host of Cultivating Place. Yes, Jennifer joined with us for another great conversation. She's been featured on our monthly gardening book club for her really awesome book, The Seeds We Sow. So it was great to have her back again last week for another great conversation. And we got to meet Doug. the Croc Gardener for Are You Following Me last week. Really, really awesome. Another of the Coast to Coast crew on our Are You Following Me segment. Go back and check out that show last Saturday. Go check out our conversation with Jennifer, and go meet Doug as well too. And then last Sunday, on the Sunday edition of the show, yes, that's right, it was another appointment with our good friend Dr. Jeffrey Pierce. Joins with us every other month on the show to talk about gardening as a medicine. And Dr. Jeff and I dug into the benefits of gardening and nutrition. I mean, that's what a lot of us are gardening for, is growing some food and better food that's better for us and all of that. So we dug right into all sorts of the nutritional benefits we get from our garden spaces. So you want to go back and check out those shows from last weekend if you haven't had a chance to yet. So, all right, everybody, it's time to meet our first guest of the show. It's time for Are You Following Me?
Are you following me? Are you following me, dude?
All right, everybody. Let's welcome to the show. It's Jan. Let's see here. Oh, I got to get this done right. Here we are. There we are. Jan, the Alchemy of Gardening, joining with us here on the show. And all of my buttons are off today. Oh, boy. How are we doing today? Thank you for joining with us.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me onto your show. It's a real pleasure to be here. Thanks.
Yeah. I'm always perusing around, checking out who's growing and doing what out there. When I saw what you have growing on, I was like, oh, we got to get Jan on the show and talk with her all about what she's got growing on over there. So again, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing with us today. So let's dig right into this. You know, one of the things we always talk about with all of our guests that come with us here on the show is their garden story. How did it all get started? How did growing and gardening, start in your life?
That's a really good question. I blame my grandfather for getting me into gardening originally.
Multi-generational, I love it.
He was a fantastic gardener, and he used to grow nearly all of the food for his family. So I remember going there as a very young child, and he allowed me to pick tomatoes fresh from the vine in his greenhouse, and strawberries. And after that, I was like, I've got to learn how to do this. So I guess gardening has been in my bones for many, many years. But in my late 20s, I eventually decided that I wanted to become a professional gardener. So I went to college and learned how to do that. I've worked in some fantastic places, stately homes all around the UK. And I now run a consultancy and design business, but I'm lucky enough to live on a 5-acre small holding. I guess you would call it a homestead.
Oh, wow. So you got plenty of space to be growing on. Right?
Rather too much than is sensible, to be perfectly honest.
That's great. That's great. So again, you went to college to study agriculture, horticulture, those sort of things.
Horticulture, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that experience.
What
really drove you in, or really too, what really drove you to that as the direction you wanted to go in a professional life?
Well, originally I started off being a psychiatric nurse, but after a while I decided that I actually prefer plants to people. So after quite a while of deciding what it was that I wanted to do for the rest of my career, I decided that I would go and learn a bit more about growing plants. So it was a 3-year course. I had a middle year of working in the industry. So I was lucky enough to work at Cambridge Botanic Gardens for a year, where I just learned an incredible amount of stuff about some fabulous plants.
Yeah. Man, that just sounds like just an amazing experience.
It was. Yeah.
To be able to spend time in a botanical garden of that nature would be just fantastic.
Yeah, the best thing about it is that all the plants were named. So it's a great way to learn the Latin names for plants and how they grow. So Plants obviously are what really makes me excited these days. I would say that I'm probably an addictive gardener. I buy far too many plants. This is probably why I ended up with 5 acres, so that I had
Yeah.
somewhere to plant them all.
Yeah, right. Like even though it's maybe a little bit much more than it's practical, right? It's still like it still feels like I need more space and this and that. So in the long
Oh,
run, it's still good to have it just in case, right? Because again, I'm the same way. I'm always end up with more than what I intend to when I first get out there starting
that's just being
plants
a
or picking
gardener.
them up. Yep. Yeah. Just all a part of it all. So, what is it really, again, that you enjoy most about gardening? What is it that really gets you when you're out in your garden space?
Um, I would say that my 2 favourite things to grow are food. Food
Yeah,
is my main thing. I try and grow as much of my own food organically as I can. And
yeah.
I'm quite obsessed by trees as well. So I've planted an awful lot of trees.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I've always had like house plants, like since I was a very young kid, right? And I love you
Yeah.
mentioned trees because ever since I was young, I think trees even were a little more dominant as far as the type, is what my fascination with nature and the plant
Mm,
world and all of that sort of stuff was. And it was really just these amazing, massive. I lived in the Pacific Northwest in the States, and
okay.
these massive evergreen trees and these
Wow.
forests and that we grew up around and everything just were just amazing. So I love that you mentioned trees because I don't think we talk about them enough when it comes to the plant world.
I agree. I agree. I always say to people there is nothing more life affirming than planting a tree and watching it grow.
Yeah,
It's just something that brings me immense pleasure. I've planted probably thousands, if not tens of thousands, of trees in my life. Not all
yeah,
for myself, and certainly not all here. But I just love it. It seems like the right thing to do.
yeah. I don't know. I can't remember what the saying is, and I'll totally mess it all up. But it has to do with planting a tree that you won't grow in the shade or be, and then down the road, that sort of thing. And that's just the kind of thing I love about trees is that again they just long living. They're going to be around for a long time. Something that really, you can kind of pass on along as well too to other generations. So
Absolutely, it's my gift to the future. That's what I tell myself when I'm tree planting.
yeah. Gift to the future. That's amazing. Awesome. So, what is it? Again, you talk about growing food being kind of your primary gardening, experience. What's some of your favorite things to grow out in the garden?
Oh, crikey. That changes every
Yeah, I
couple
know.
of
It's
weeks
like
at the
picking
moment.
children.
It depends what season we're in. I would say the thing that I probably enjoy most is growing tomatoes.
hmm
Um, but I try and grow as wide a range of vegetables as I possibly can.
Yeah,
And we decide what we're going to eat every day by what's available in the garden.
yeah,
So I like to try and grow unusual things as well. I'm right in the northeast of England. I'm quite high up, so I have a
yeah,
very short growing season. But I like
mm,
to push the boundaries a little bit and see what I can get away with growing. So
yeah.
this year, for the first time, I'm growing chayote. Do you know it?
Yeah. I haven't
Okay.
grown it myself or have experience with it myself, but it's definitely know what that is. Yeah, that's great.
Okay. It's right on the edge of being viable in certainly my part of the world.
Yeah,
But we've had an incredible summer this year. It's been super hot and sunny, and it started flowering 2 days ago. So I have high hopes of
high
being able to
hopes.
eat
Yeah.
some later on in the season. But I'm harvesting all sorts at the moment.
Oh,
Um,
wonderful.
all just everything. It's full on trying to preserve things and store everything, for the winter months.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
it's important to me to try and eat as much as I can. I think it's that thing about if you look after the land looks after you in return.
yeah.
So growing organic food is a really fabulous thing to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got some of your favorites. What's a least favorite? You got one of those? You got something that you just have trouble with all the time, but can't stop growing or trying or whatever? Because we don't give up. I mean,
No, we don't give up ever. Carrots, actually. Carrots are one of the things that I really struggle to grow.
yeah.
I'm on really heavy clay soils, and it's
Mm,
quite late in the season before I can direct sow anything. Every year I try. This year I'm trying in containers. So because I have such a short growing season, I've got these huge, big black tubs that I grow my early potatoes in. Well, we've just harvested those. So not wishing to give up too easily, I've just sown them with some carrot seed, which
oh,
hopefully later in the season I might have some carrots. Who
oh
knows?
yeah. Yeah, definitely. Let's hope so for sure. I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna try some fall carrots myself. I didn't get any started for the spring, but it is my goal to try some fall carrots for sure this year. And I was mentioning earlier is like it's just low expectation garden for me this year that
Okay.
has actually blown up and done like just spectacularly better than I was expecting. So I've got my hopes up high on a lot of other things too. So I kind of agree with you on carrots. I've grown some pretty good crops of carrots before, but every now and then they give me some trouble for sure. And I'm gonna get in and get some going myself here real soon. But
I was very impressed by your pumpkins, by the way. They were huge.
yeah,
I'm growing a few winter squash here.
yeah,
They don't do very well for me in the ground. Again, like I say, we have a really short growing season here. So
yeah,
I've got some big hollow logs that I have at the back of my greenhouse, which is very sheltered. And I've got
yeah.
some pumpkins growing in there, but they're nowhere near as good as yours.
Have you ever attempted growing a big, large pumpkin or the biggest pumpkin you can or anything
I
just for
haven't,
fun?
no. Oh, we just don't have the climate here in the north of England.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not an easy crop for me to grow, but I love winter squash. I like to make chilies and things
yeah, yeah,
with them. So I always try and grow some, but I grow for flavour, I guess, rather than
right.
size.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure they're probably in a different region of the UK than you are, but you guys do hold the world record since last year now, for the biggest pumpkin. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah, we'll see though. We'll see. There's another guy I follow here who broke the record a couple years back, who says he might break 3,000 pounds this year. I can't believe it. 3,000 pounds.
That's impressive,
Yeah, my
really.
little 137, which is my personal best, is nothing compared to what those competitors are doing and everything. But the goal at the beginning of the year was I wanted a big giant pumpkin that I could take pictures with my granddaughter with. She's 2 years old this year, so I wanted some cool
Brilliant.
pictures with her in a big giant pumpkin. And so that
Oh,
was kind of the goal. And so far so good. We've got a couple of good viable ones and I'm hoping I can at least break that 137. I'm confident.
well,
I'm
good
confident I
luck.
can. The way everything, like I said, everything's been going, I'm pretty confident.
Excellent. No, that's great.
Right on.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's been quite a challenging year for us here. Actually, we're in the middle of a huge drought, so we've had no significant rain for about 4 months.
Oh
The
yeah.
rest of my garden, I water my vegetables, but and any new trees that I've planted. But apart from that, everything just has to take its way. And I'm looking out of the window now, and everything is kind of golden brown and looking very, very sorry for itself.
Oh my. Yikes,
So
huh?
yeah, difficult
Just,
year.
again, like you said, it's a warmer year for you guys than what you're
Definitely, yeah.
normally
We've had
used
some
to.
record-breaking temperatures in the UK this year, and
Wow.
we're just not used to it. It's not
Hmm.
what we're built for at all.
Yeah, which is something too. And again, it's the continuing story year after year as we're hearing more and more places that are, reaching these temperatures that they're just not used to yet. I fortunately, even though we just got done with a really, really hot week here, am having a cooler summer than usual. And I think that's what I credit with all of our success this year. We've been having trouble with tomatoes for many years. And this year they're just doing spectacularly out there. Just awesome tomato plants all over the garden. So, and I credit that with having just a little bit cooler summer than what we've been getting over the many years. So it's, again, too, it just, depending on where you're at, you're definitely seeing different things in higher temperatures, and unfortunate, that we have to kind of make those adjustments from year to year. It's hard to do when it's kind of a new thing that happens. I remember when it was kind of newer to us here in this region.
Right, yeah. I mean, the changing climate is keeping us all on our toes. We had an incredibly wet winter. So, we were standing water for ages, and then it just stopped raining, and it's barely rained again since. So, some things have done incredibly well. Some things haven't done well at all. In the ornamental side of gardening, it's particularly challenging because obviously, in England, we like our herbaceous borders and lots of roses and hydrangeas, and all of those things. Actually, the roses have done really well, but everything else is looking pretty sorry for itself.
It's so unfortunate. And my very next question is what are your biggest gardening challenges? And I think we're right in the middle of answering that question right now, right? Is this just, what are you to do really when it's a hotter than what you're used to normal season? Because again, you've got, you've built certain habits and things that you're used to from year to year, and now it's just kind of thrown out of whack.
Absolutely. And from my perspective as well, I work as a garden designer, so I design gardens for lots of people, and I'm having to learn. It's a pretty steep learning curve. What's going to do well in this new world that we're now living in? So, I'm looking to change some of the plants that I used to use in my flower borders and trying to come up with some alternatives that will be perhaps more resilient with the extremes of weather that we're getting. It's interesting times we're living in, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I'd refer you and other people too. Also, I'll just mention this is that we did talk with Kim Stoddart. She's the editor of Amateur Gardening over there in the UK, but she wrote a great book called The Climate Change Resilient Vegetable Garden. Great book talking about all these sort of things about, how to deal with and make some of those adjustments in your garden spaces when you're dealing with those sort of things. And it's, it's good all over the world because we're all dealing with these things in different regions in different ways.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit here real quick before we get going. The alchemy of gardening. You got this great lifelong garden passion that you've grown into a business and all of this sort of stuff as well too. What inspired you to here we go. Yes, right there. Jay's asking, what inspired you to create Alchemy of Gardening, and what does alchemy mean to you in the garden? How about that?
Well, The Alchemy of Gardening is actually the title of my book, but it sums up. The book is about my journey in creating a garden here, and it kind of weaves my own story in. So I suffer from a chronic illness. I have an autoimmune liver disease. And I didn't realize that I had that until I bought this place. So I just moved to my dream small holding. We had a derelict cottage and we were living in caravan, and I had huge hopes for building this fabulous garden. And I really, really wasn't very well at all. And all my friends were telling me, oh God, sell it. You don't need this. My doctors were telling me that I would need a liver transplant in 10 years, 50-50 chance of surviving it. And I was like, this isn't my story. This isn't how it's supposed to be.
Right.
So I ignored everybody and I just started planting very, very slowly. And while I was doing that, I thought, I'm going to write about this. So I started keeping a diary about the creation of the garden. And the thing with the chronic illness is that it makes you slow down. And in slowing down, I learned to observe nature and roll with the seasons a little bit more. And it was then that I decided that I was going to grow as much of my own vegetables as possible. And fast forward 8 years from my original diagnosis, my doctors now tell me that I'm more likely to die of something else, which I guess is good news.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It is the inevitable, but yeah, it's how and when, right? And
yeah, I mean, they say we don't know what it is that you're doing, Jan, but keep doing it. So I will keep planting and keep growing food and spend as much time in nature as I possibly can, because I feel that there's a deep link between caring for yourself and caring for the earth. And the two are very much entwined. So alchemy is all about magic and creating magic. And I honestly believe that every single garden has its own little source of magic. So I wrote a book to try and encourage more people to have a go at growing with nature, allowing nature to take the lead, and how to value these little tiny patches of land outside our homes, and how they can become really healing places for us.
Yeah, that's, I mean, absolutely love that. I mean, what a great story of resilience and in this connection with our gardens and nature and everything, and how healing and the power that they have to do so. I mean, I just, to me, it's probably I think the greatest thing about growing and gardening and all of that is that aspect of it. Once we figure that out in whatever way in our lives, we're hooked for sure for life when it comes down to it.
Yeah,
real quick,
definitely.
last question here. Jay asks, what is one garden lesson you've learned that has changed the way you see nature or yourself?
Oh, that's interesting. Good question. I think it's about looking at what gardeners normally refer to as weeds and trying to find out what those weeds can teach us about the lands that we are working with. I think that native plants generally, everybody always has this thing about a weed is a plant in the wrong place. But I think that a weed is the plant in exactly the right place. And if you find that you've got a particular weed growing somewhere, that can actually teach you an awful lot about what you can do with that space. If you do a little bit of research into those native plants, you can find out a lot about what you might want to put there instead.
Oh, wonderful. That's so fantastic. Fantastic. Yes, everybody go check out the Alchemy of Gardening over on Instagram. We've got a link down below in the description there. And as I always say, everybody go and check out one of her posts. Leave a comment. Let her know you saw her here on the Let's Get Growing show. Thank you so much, Jan, for being here. It's just really great to have this chat with you and hear about such a wonderful story of healing and all of that in your garden space. Thanks for sharing that with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. And everybody, we will be right back here in just one moment. We'll have our featured guest here. Hey gardeners, thanks for tuning in to our show today. We'll be right back at it here in just a moment. I just wanted to take a second here to highlight our regular videos and features here on the Urban Gardener channel. Our weekly garden journals, and our incredible featured visits.
I'm back with the answer to this week's trivia question. Do you know the purpose of deadheading? The correct answer is all of them. Depending on the plant, deadheading can serve a number of purposes, but it's not always the best decision. Let's talk through a few examples. Deadheading dahlias and geraniums will result in more blooms throughout the whole growing season. Deadheading peonies and hostas won't result in new blooms, but it'll encourage the plant to focus its energy on root growth, and you'll have an even better show next season. Deadheading obedient plant and allium will stop overwhelming spread of seeds. And deadheading daisies will keep the garden looking tidy, and you might even get some new blooms as well. But deadheading isn't always a good idea for plants, especially when it comes to native plants. The seeds that mature and develop on the plant can help to establish new native plants and help to feed the birds over the winter. So if you are considering deadheading your plants right now, take a minute to think first, see what will be best for that plant, and think about how you might be able to help establish your native plants in your own garden and help support that biodiversity over the winter months as well. And that's your garden trivia for today. Thanks so much for playing. Enjoy the rest of the show and be sure to pop by and say hi at the Suburban Gardenista on YouTube and Instagram. And there'll be a link for you down in the description below. Thanks again and happy gardening.
All right, all right. Did you get Brandy's garden trivia right? I always, you gotta love the ones where she gets you with all of them. There's no option for all of them, Brandy. But no, the answer was all of the above for sure. And definitely go check out Brandy over at the Suburban Gardenista. Go let her know if you got her garden trivia correct over there in one of her posts as well. Check out that new video too there. So right on, everybody. Just a little bit about what we've got coming up here on the show real quick here. Tomorrow, Sunday edition of the show. That's right. We're here both Saturdays and Sundays, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, second Sunday of the month, we usually got our good friend Gardener Scott joining with us for Ask Gardener Scott, but we're gonna do a little switch with him. He had something coming up for this weekend, so we invited our good friend Craig LaHoulier, yes, author of the amazing tomato book, Epic Tomatoes. That's right. Craig's going to come join with us tomorrow to answer all of your tomato questions. We'll talk tomatoes, do some tomato talk with Craig tomorrow for the Sunday edition of the show. And then next Saturday, our good friend Scott Wilson from the Gardener Scott channel will come and join with us. And yes, that's when you can ask him any of your garden questions or maybe any leftover tomato questions that you might have after talking to Craig tomorrow. But yeah, definitely come join with us next Saturday for Gardener Scott on the show with us. It's been a little while. We got some catching up to do with Gardener Scott. And next Sunday, the Sunday edition of next week's show is the third Sunday. It's our monthly gardening book club. We've got our good friend Mr. MBC joining with us on the show live in the garden and helping co-host our conversation with Charlie Nardozzi. We've got Charlie Nardozzi joining us, author of The Continuous Vegetable Gardener. Right on. We got lots and lots of really awesome authors on the show lately, and definitely come and join with us next Sunday on the Sunday edition for our monthly gardening book club with The Continuous Vegetable Garden. So, all right, everybody, it's time for our featured guest.
You never know when you might learn something, and that's what this is about for me. These are people that I admire. Please welcome my next guest.
All right, everybody, let's welcome to the show. We've got with us. Oh my, I got to get this right. There we go. Oh my, they've got my, what is going on? Why is he not showing up? We'll get it figured out here eventually, I think. Maybe. I don't know. It's not adding him to my stage. What's going on here? I'm sorry, Nick. Let me get this figured out here. They got something going on here. Let's see if that helps. It's just not loading him up here. Could I ask you a favor real quick, Nick? Could you reload for me real quick? I apologize. Maybe that might be able to help us out there. I think it kind of froze, did something in the middle of all of that. Sorry, everybody. We're going to get our guest on with us in just one moment there. I'll just mention something going on. It wasn't able to load up my videos properly as we usually set them up. But yeah, it's giving me some trouble here. I don't know what I'm going to do here real quick. No, it's not showing. It's showing them completely blanked out now. Oh my. Yikes. I wonder what's happening here. Yeah, it's not working. Why is this not working? They're throwing another wrench into it. Yeah, they had a problem loading everything onto the studio. I think the studio is just messed up or something's going on. I wonder if I have to reload myself or something too. I'm not sure. Maybe it has to do with me. I know Jay's been trying to put him in there as well too. Yikes. Uh-oh. We have not had this sort of issue or trouble in a while around here. I apologize, everybody joining us on the show right now. Just having a little bit of technical issue loading our guest onto our show right now, and working on the possible fix here. I'm not seeing the video feed. He's popping in, but let me check my settings here. Yeah, I wonder what's going on. I don't know if it'll totally mess everything up if I drop out myself. Jay says she's having a hard time loading as well, which means something's going on with this studio altogether. Let's see what happens if... I hope this doesn't ruin everything for the day if I try this out, but let's see what happens if I try to let's see here real quick. Okay, wait, let's try one more time. I see him there. Ah, I see you. Can you hear me?
Did we get it?
Oh, boom. Oh my. I was about to do the last case scenario, and that's me actually having to unload out of here and then reload up. And who knows if the show stays live at that point if we get to that point right there. Oh my. Oh boy. That's what again, the troubles with running live shows, especially when you got to use some of these third-party types of studios and things to do that. You never know what's going to come up. And I knew we were going to have some troubles. We had trouble loading my video segments up and everything too. So yikes. But anyways, we're here. Nick, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's so awesome to get you here on the show with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Real quick, though, too, I will mention, everybody, I do, and this is one of the reasons why I had to have you on the show. I've had you on my list for a while. I picked this up at my local bookstore a while back ago. The Plant Coach wrote a really great book. I thought this was awesome, and you got a really great story in here, too, that I was really excited about talking about, too. So let's go ahead and dig right into it, though, too. Let's talk a bit about it. We ask all of our guests, as I mentioned to Jan earlier as well, about everybody's garden stories. And your garden stories in the beginning of the book there. Let's talk a little bit about that, though, too, because and I'll just mention already, because I already know, but from the book and all of that, you didn't get into gardening until later in life and all of that. This isn't something you grew up with, right?
Certainly not. Yeah, the germination story, as I call it, right?
Yes.
It was not something I ever thought I would be into. I was an athlete growing up. I played baseball and basketball and in high school and baseball in college. And for so long, my identity was so tied to sports. And, you graduate from college and all of a sudden it's like, all right, like,
Yeah.
who are you now? And I was living at home and working in New York City, very corporate job. And my mom said, you know what, if you're going to do something, if you're going to be here living rent free, you got to do something around the house, right?
Exactly.
All right, well, what do you want me to do? And she goes, well, you love food, you love cooking, you love being outside. Why not start a garden?
Mind you, though, your parents weren't gardeners really themselves either, though,
No, we
right?
didn't even have a houseplant in the house growing up.
Yeah.
Nothing. And so I went to Home Depot and I bought like a raised bed set and some tomatoes and cucumbers, and I just became obsessed. Like it was the coolest thing in the world. And each year the garden grew more and more, and I was growing all these different heirloom varieties of things and getting really into seed starting and all this other stuff. And then things shifted when I moved to New York City, because then all of a sudden no more garden, right?
Yeah.
So I did the only thing I thought a rational human would do, and I bought 120 houseplants for my 600 square foot apartment. It certainly did help, and was kind of the impetus for this Farmer Nick Instagram page, and eventually the book, which is all about houseplants. But my growing from there just expanded to helping folks in New York City with their houseplants, their terraces, their rooftops, their second homes in, upstate New York, like all these different things that kind of grew into organically. And now I have my own 10-acre homestead and haven't looked back since.
Yeah. That's so awesome. I can't wait to get into all of that as well too. But again, this is just something, right? Out of college you're doing, and again, I think it's cool too because we're kind of going through kind of a similar thing around the same years or so, as I was noticing from what I was reading in the book there too.
Yeah.
So, which was kind of great. But so I like the fact that, again, you started with a vegetable garden, growing a food garden at your parents' place, and then you moved to house plants later on, which is kind of the opposite of what I did. I'd always kind of had house plants around me, and then it was later on I found, growing food for myself and everything. And that's when things really exploded for me. But tell me about a little bit too. Again, some of this is because, again, you're living in the city now. And again, one of the things we know about cities is that, nature then becomes a little bit further, less accessible for us, right? And this is something you're noticing as well, right?
Absolutely. Less accessible, but appreciated more when you find it.
Yeah. There you go.
And there's this phenomenon known as plant blindness, right? Where we walk by beautiful trees and plants and in our environment, and we don't acknowledge them the same way we would if it was a dog or another mammal that has eyes and is able to kind of, connect with you in that way. And so being in New York for 4 years and living there and working there for another couple, your feet might not hit the earth for weeks at a time. Wood, concrete, linoleum, marble, cement, asphalt, all these surfaces. If you're not living near a park, your feet aren't touching the grass. And I think that was kind of a major shock to the system for me that inspired some of these changes. And the community garden scene in New York City is also really, really fantastic.
Yes. Community gardens. And again, too, that's a great place to find just great personalities and characters throughout your neighborhoods and all of that
For
too.
sure. That is an understatement.
That's right. I love it. I love a great community garden for sure. But yeah, I mean, again, so that's again, that's what you're noticing. There's and as you're kind of building this idea of your Farmer Nick brand that you started, is that not only is it less accessible for some folks, but they kind of crave it, they want it, right? And so you're finding. And how was this? And again, I can't remember the story exactly, but how was it that you kind of got all this started, doing consultations or helping folks out?
Yeah, it was
there was someone approached you or something, right?
It was really funny. There was a woman I met at a party, and it was like a fancy dinner party. I was asked to like fill in as a fake photographer for the evening because I was decent with a camera and knew my way around, right? My own Instagram at the time. And she's like, "Oh, you're a photographer." I'm like, "No, I actually just take pictures of plants. That's really what my side hustle is." And I showed her my Instagram. She goes, "Oh, this is amazing." She's like, "How many clients do you have?" And I was like, I am booked out. I am so
Oh yeah,
busy.
that's the part I remember. Yes,
I'm
that's
so
right.
busy, but like
This all
I
just
could
comes
fit
to you
you
right
in,
at that moment. That's
right?
wonderful.
And I kind of created like a mini like process and a business plan on the spot where it's like, oh, I come to your space, we assess your space, we understand your lifestyle, we figure out what plants are going to be most suited, and then we go buy them together. And I kind of walk you through this,
Mhm.
and it worked. There were a lot of folks who needed more so than knowledge, just confidence, right? Someone
Yeah.
to do it
Yeah.
with. And from that point on, I was like, all right, like if I can do this for these clients, maybe I can do it for bigger clients and folks who need a little bit more than just their house plants. And now the business Farmer Nick LLC per se
Mhm.
operates in New York and beyond. We've done projects in I think 10 different states already with a pretty boutique firm that we have. And we've done office spaces, we've done mansion homes, we've done acres and acres worth of
Wow.
landscaping, and it is so much fun to see how it's grown from just helping a woman out with her houseplants.
That's amazing. So great. All right, let's see here. We got David Bowtie Life in the Garden asking, what areas of upstate New York were you in, Nick? I grew up in Clifton Park, Saratoga Springs, and mostly Glen Falls and Queensbury. Ah, those sound familiar to you? Oh, do we freeze up? Uh-oh, we're freezing. Uh-oh. I think we still got wrenches in the works around here or something too. Oh my, oh my. We might have to, let's hope this doesn't have to reload every time. Let's see here. Apologize, Nick. This is probably our whole setup. Oh, there you are. There you are. You're back.
You got me?
Okay, yeah. I
Oh,
don't know. I don't know what it is. There's some sort of wrench, some little monkey in the works here, trying to get in the middle of all of this sort of stuff. But
that's okay. The
let's
question was about where in New York.
upstate, yeah.
I say upstate from New York City. I grew up in White Plains, New York, about 40 minutes from New York City. So
Right, right.
not as
Not too
upstate as,
far away, right?
yeah, some of my clients are much farther upstate.
But
Um,
anything above the city is upstate to a New York, someone in New York City, right? Oh yeah, yeah. Oh boy, here we go. Let's hope this isn't going to persist, but it seems to be. Oh, we'll just kind of have to kind of roll with it a little bit here and see if it did like it did before, and he pops back in. Oh my, oh my. Sorry, everybody, for our technical issues today. We seem to be having quite an issue. Everything was going really great throughout most of the show, for sure, until we got to this point here with our featured guest, Nick from Farmer Nick, joining with us today. And yeah, hopefully we'll get him back on here. Let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and pull that back real quick, and I'll see if we can't get that video back on, and we'll get back with him here in just a moment, hopefully. Yikes, yikes. Technical difficulties. What are we to do? Oh my gosh. It's been a while since I've had an issue that I think that was this persistent or this difficult here on the show. So I apologize to everybody who's tuning in with us. I believe he's trying to reload right now, so we'll try to get him back on here in just one moment. Yeah. Definitely some crazy technical issues going on. No fun at all. All right, let's see if we got him back on here. All right, there we go. Sorry about this.
yeah,
Hopefully it doesn't happen too often, but I hate to have you keep reloading, but
no, all good. My
uh,
Wi-Fi has been fine. Not sure what's the hang up with
yeah,
the platform, but
yeah, it's got to be something that's going on. I mean, starting with the issues we already had with video loading and other things going on, I just feel like it's something to do with this platform we're using. But yeah, I was just saying though that anything above the city for folks of New York City is upstate for sure. But one of my favorite places, I've been to New York City like about 5 or 6 different times. I love the city. It's a really great place. Got to get back there. It's been many years since I've been there. But before we move on too much too, I want to get a little bit into, again, this early backyard garden that you were growing. Again, you were doing food gardening and growing, things in this garden space. What were some of the things that you were growing or really enjoyed growing in your food garden?
For me, the number one was tomatoes, just because I
Yeah.
one of the crops that is just so different tasting off the vine that you grow yourself
Hmm.
at the store, especially, when you think about how many different varieties there are out there that
Yeah.
you will rarely see in a grocery store. And that goes for most foods that exist that are edible. The grocery store will maybe have, 100, and there's tens of thousands, but because they might not be easy to grow commercially or whatever it is, you
Hmm.
never see it. So tomatoes were number one. I grew sweet potatoes, which were surprisingly delicious and fun, very low effort as well. Eggplants, different types of cucumbers, and then I also experimented with some of row sevens
Oh,
seeds. Which,
okay.
if anyone has tried row seven, they've got some really unique varieties that are very different and unique culinary kind of design to some of their seeds. So they've been fantastic for me.
Yeah, tomatoes for sure. I think those are like one of the, if anything, one of the most common real firsts for people that they really love. And I think it is because, again, it's one of the most common things that we go to the store to get. In fact, I think here we talk about food inflation right now, and I think tomatoes are at the top of the list for uh,
Yes.
uh, uh, the largest price increase when it comes down to it. So growing those is kind of like a natural first, right? When we're getting in our garden space. But like you said, it's such, when you get to taste a vine ripe tomato versus what you buy at the store, there's just nothing better, is there?
Yeah.
And then the variety. Oh, I can't get enough. And just like I was mentioning, everybody too, we got Craig LeHoulier, who wrote the book Epic Tomatoes, with us tomorrow for our Sunday edition for Tomato Talk again. So come by tomorrow, everyone, and check out that discussion as well, if tomatoes are your favorite too. But yeah, so what were some of the things that, yeah, some of the challenges that you were facing there? Did you have some plants that you remember, or maybe even still today for a vegetable kitchen garden, or anything that you might
Yeah.
have that are still troublesome, things that you don't want to give up on, but feel like you should sometimes?
I think anything in especially in the Midwest and Northeast, the brassicas are great, but you're
Hmm.
going to be battling cabbage moth and all that stuff just
Hmm.
for the whole season. I can deal with it with my kales, and that's nice because you can kind of grow them throughout and they won't bolt on you like some of the other brassicas. Like broccoli is just so temperamental, and I've
Yeah.
grown it successfully a couple times. It just takes up a lot of space, and it's not worth the effort and the yield you get for it.
Right.
I think at a certain point, once that you try kind of everything, you're like, okay, like, yes, this was delicious, but what's going to get me? For me, it's like, how much food can I grow that I'm going to be able to eat?
Yep.
And broccoli, you might get a couple rounds of it, right? Especially if it
Mm.
doesn't stay too hot or you protect it with a shade cloth. But in general, like, I try to avoid the things that are going to be quick hitters, you
Yeah.
know, or things that take up a ton of space. I
Yep.
don't need 10 zucchini plants
For the
anymore,
value, especially.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So now it's been a nice new thing that I get to learn about is aside from raised bed gardening, which is where I started, I now have room for in-ground beds, like
Hmm.
true rows of farming.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's going to be a lot of fun. I just created a space that I'm going to start planting this fall. And that's going to it's a whole different art and a whole different science to
Yeah.
it when you're dealing with more of the elements and you can't control the soil as easily. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be a fun challenge to have for your future garden for sure. I have to agree too, brassicas are my challenge as well. I think it's for a lot of folks out there, broccoli especially, and I agree with you. It was like I grow a bunch of them, and I have a small space garden. And I've got to be able to maximize my spaces that I have. And it was like I said, one of those challenges. So it keeps giving me a challenge, and I keep doing it over and over again until I finally succeeded and grew some really great ones and had a good, a good harvest and things. And it was kind of like, all right, I've met that challenge. And now let's go ahead and use our space for more better things that are going to be more give me
Yes.
more value out of the space that I have. And but every now and then I look at them broccoli seed packets, and I'm like, I gotta
Yeah,
maybe
give
give
another
you a
go.
shot again here every now and then too, because like I say, we never really give up, even if we do have some pretty serious challenges with some types of plants.
Absolutely. It's a gardener is always hopeful at the end of the day. Uh,
Yeah.
and I'll probably go back to it next year, even though I don't want to. But I do find there's also some differences growing it hydroponically, right? Don't need to worry
Hmm.
about the water as much. And I've had some success with certain things hydroponically that growing in ground, yeah, would be possible, but
Yeah.
maybe not worth it in
Yeah.
comparison.
Exactly. So, all right, another the I think the one story out of your book that I really really wanted to talk about, because I found it to be so kind of especially for someone who again is, I've got a show and I'm working, my sort of thing and all that sort of stuff. I loved the story you talked about, how you really took the leap for going into doing a plant-based business, doing Farmer Nick. And I love for you to tell the story a little bit, because I found, again, I'll just a preface of this. I remember years and years ago, another gardener, Mark Valencia from Self Sufficient Me. He comes on the show every now and then from Australia. He's got a similar, I think, kind of amazing story of this kind of taking a leap and believing in this dream and just going for it. And I thought when I read yours, I was like, wow, this is really really taking the leap, especially at a nice young age, with this really great big future prospect in front of you and all of that sort of thing. Tell us a little bit about, you're in New York City, you're working for this company, and you've got this opportunity that drops in your lap, and you've got to make a decision.
Yeah, that was a scary time
Yeah.
in good ways, right? But I was probably, well, I don't know, what was I? I was 28 and
Yeah.
was working a very good corporate job for a startup, good benefits, good salary, everything on paper was good, but it just was not for me. And I was, side hustling this plant business and Instagram account every morning after work on the weekends, and it got some attention. And I had a casting director reach out for a show and said, "Hey, we want you to be on this garden sculpture show." And I was like, I'm not. Garden sculpture is not really my thing. I can do it. I probably could figure it out. And he's like, "Oh, you should think about it." I applied, ended up getting it with another partner in New York City, and had to, go to my bosses and say, "Hey, can I, potentially take a leave of absence here?"
Yeah.
And I sat down with the team. Everyone was good with it. Sit down with the CEO, and she's like, "You know what, Nick, you're doing so well here, but not everything is nothing is once in a lifetime."
Yeah, I thought
I was
that
like,
was quite
well, for you,
right.
it might not be, but for me, this might be my wave, and I might need to
Yeah.
paddle here, right? And they said, "Oh, maybe we'll figure it out, whatever." And I get a call the day before I was set to fly to London. This was for the big flower fight on Netflix, and I was supposed to, go do the show, come back, have my job, whatever. Get a call, and the boss was like, "You know what? Actually, we decided we can't keep your position. If you want to do the show, you have to quit."
Oh
And
my.
I was standing on a rooftop in the Upper West Side, covered in dirt because I was finishing up some client work, and I was like, I quit. See you later. And that was it. I went to London. The show we actually filmed out in Kent, beautiful countryside. Met some amazing people. Great experience. Didn't last too long on the show, but it was a platform.
An elimination show.
Exactly.
Right.
But it kind of springboarded my career even more. Couple that with the pandemic, which took place just a year later, and people were gardening, people were into plants, so it was kind of right place, right time, and that led to some other opportunities with Netflix, with Instant Dream Home, and the book, and a bunch of other really, really cool plant experiences, and it just keeps growing from here. So it's been a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, how about that? I mean, here, again, talk about a leap of faith, especially, well, I mean, a different type of leap being on a rooftop up there like that, but just as big of one if you think about it, really, though, too, because you're young and this is a big career possibility that you're looking at and everything, but yet this is a show and maybe some things that are working in this other thing, and it's kind of hard to weigh that sort of thing, but a perfect time for you in your life to make that type of leap of faith and go after it and do that. And then again, to look where it's taking you to. I mean, just just a massively inspiring story when it comes down to it. I was saying about Mark, he had that kind of a similar situation where he had to decide, is it work? Is it going to this job and doing this sort of thing? Or is it this new kind of cool thing that's presenting some opportunities on YouTube and gardening and doing these sort of things?
Sure.
And, and I remember him going through that back, when I was following him at 20,000 subscribers, on his YouTube channel. And here he is, one of the biggest channels in the world, having written books and done all sorts of things as well too, just love those types of inspiring stories, and just so glad that, that happened with you and where it's led to. Tell me a little bit more about too, again, I had a similar opportunity come my direction with a different company who wanted to put on a garden competition show. They were still trying to pitch it to certain networks and stuff, so they didn't have a Netflix or anything yet. And it was right around the same time, right before the pandemic. So I was getting selected. They were talking about going forward, and then the pandemic hit and kind of shut everything down and all that sort of stuff. But tell us a little bit when you finally got going and got to go through and have the experience with these shows and these competitions, what that experience was like, being a camera crews, here's another thing. We're creators independently, out there with our own cameras, and I'm, filming myself and doing stuff. I think it'd be just an odd experience to have other cameras in your face with people and direction and all of these sort of things going on. So tell us about that experience.
Yeah, I find that experience for me was perhaps easier than some of the other creators or gardeners or flower folks that were on the show, just because I was a sales guy. My job was to go into rooms with
pitch,
scary people who own companies and do all these major things, and my job was to talk. And I was like, oh, like if I could talk in front of the chief revenue officer at so-and-so company, I could talk in front of a camera crew with a bunch of cool people hanging around, right? Like it was pretty easy in that way to talk. The challenge for me was talking less, because they'd be like, all right, Nick, tell me why you chose this flower and this design and this whatever. I go on this big thing of like this whole idea I had and this and this and that, and they're like, Nick, that was amazing. Can you do it in 3 seconds this time?
Right.
And you got to make these like sound bites in a different way. And being able to learn how to be more concise and not always, go into the same level of depth you would on a YouTube page or your own channel. That was an adjustment for me. But once you get the hang of it and you learn how to kind of convey your ideas quickly when the judges are coming, those were all really, really important.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I don't know quite. I mean, again, I'm pretty comfortable in front of a camera. I'm a talker as well too. I have the same problem of editing myself sometimes when it comes down to it. So I don't know, but I'd still kind of I think I'd find it still a little nerve-wracking with the idea of having teams of folks around doing things and the direction and that sort of stuff. Whereas I flow a little better, more independently. But got to be just a fantastic experience, though.
Yeah, it really was.
Right on. So again, all of that leading up to, again, you guys, Nick wrote this really cool book, Plant Coach. How did the idea and the development for this book, Plant Coach, come along?
I've been a coach for most of my life now, coaching
Yeah.
baseball and basketball in my hometown when I was living at home, and working summer camps for kids in high school. And, the idea of a coach is so valuable to me, and been impactful in my life. And I was like, all right, like if I can coach someone in baseball, I can coach someone in plants, right? It can't be that
Yeah.
much different. The principles are the same, right? Just your knowledge that is a little bit shifted. So I was always inspired by that idea, because a coach doesn't always tell you what to do, right? They help you discover it on your own. And the best coaches are the one that gives you the tools, but at the end of the day, you got to go out and perform without the coach helping you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
When the game starts, it's on you. So I like having that kind of relationship with my clients, and I like when my clients come back and ask me questions. I love when my clients say, "Hey, we started with houseplants. Now let's go to edible landscaping or native plants," or whatever it might be. To see that growth is very inspiring, and something that I think hopefully in future books will be able to show different sides of the plant world that I'm now in. So it's a natural kind of role for me to play.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, and again, you got different sides to your plant experience and all of that too, as well. But what was the impetus for making this a house plant book, basically, and focusing on house plants, as this
It
was your secondary plant life, and from
Yes,
the vegetable garden to house plants?
it was the secondary plant life, but the first digitally available plant life of
Okay,
mine,
there you
right?
go.
Like
It's kind of
that was
where Farmer Nick got started,
that's where
right?
Farmer Nick got started. It was showing these pictures of plants I was collecting in my small apartment on Instagram, and the publishing company was like, "Hey, we want to start here," and I was like, "Well, can I talk about this?" And like, worry about that later. Like, we'll
Hmm.
talk about edible stuff and landscaping in a future book, but for now, let's niche down into the houseplants, which makes sense. And houseplants, I always say, are like this gateway, right? They're that
Yeah.
stepping stone towards not only other forms of planting, but also just your relationship with the environment, right? If I can
Hmm.
get you to care about a small plant on your desk,
Yeah.
I can get you to care about the big plant we all live on. And so I would use plants in that way to get my clients and my friends and family to think differently about their choices and their impact. Because at the end of the day, like, we only got one shot at this. And we haven't done such a good job at making our planet hospitable to
Yeah.
plants and wildlife, and even ourselves in many cases. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we all need more plants in our life for many reasons.
Yeah, yeah, and I think again too, it comes back down to this idea that a larger and larger group of us human beings are living in cities and further away from nature itself. So again, to that disconnection it makes it easier to disconnect from our personal responsibilities to the world that we live in around us, right?
Mhm.
But what's one of your favorite house plants? You said you went out and got what 150, you said the first time or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that. 100 and some
there are
anyways, but
quite
you
a
were just
few.
picking them, I'm sure, at that point in time, but eventually there had to have become one that really kind of one or two that really kind of stuck with you. Like these are kind of my favorites.
It's hard to, obviously, yeah, it's like picking a favorite child, right? Like how do you
Yeah.
do that? Right
I do
now,
have them. I know they're around here, but I
yeah,
do have
right,
some.
right now, oh man, it's so hard. Um, I picked up actually some really different types of monstera uh, from
Yeah.
my friend Rare Plant Fairy. She's got an amazing business.
Yeah.
And I have the classic Monstera, I have the Tycon, I have the Alba. I've got all those already.
Yeah. Yeah.
But some of these other ones, I forget the mint, the Monstera mint, I believe it's called.
Mm.
Uh, Beautiful plant, love it. Easy. All the Monsteras are relatively easy to take care
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
So I do recognize and recommend those for folks. And then I'm also an alocasia guy. Like I know they get
Okay.
spider mites, but like
You like the big leaves.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a fan of anything in the alocasia, colocasia family, like it's very fun for me. I do handle the spider mites all right, and water at a decent level. Humidity is the key.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
prevent a lot of that from happening in the first place. So my alocasia in the
I know
greenhouse,
that's one of my bigger issues
yeah,
for sure.
it's hard. It's hard. So yeah, those are some of my favorites right now. And then recently got a pitcher plant, which I really enjoy watching because it does catch things,
Yeah.
albeit more passively. So it's good. It's been fun.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely, I've dabbled with a Venus flytrap here and there. I love a pitcher plant or some of the other different types of varieties of those uh, um, plants that eat bugs and all of that sort of stuff, for which I find very, very interesting. But yeah, I have to agree with you though. I really do like my monsteras for sure. I would love to. The ones I see are these just really cool variegated ones that they're so darn expensive though. But I would love to have one of those at some point in time too. But yeah, love the monstera. And again, I'd have to say though, my favorite plants are these two that are kind of one right next to me right here, which is a pothos that goes around and around and around and around and around the room, all over
Can't
the
stop them.
place.
They're
No,
fantastic.
yeah, yeah. It was like one of the it was like one of the first that I really took care of, like from a near death plant, brought it back to life, and I've had this plant almost 30 years now, and it's
Wow.
grown many, many times over, probably about 4 or 5 different times. It's grown hundreds of feet of vines, but then also to the spider plant is my very first one, very first one, the spider plant. So easy to propagate. So again, I did that when I was like 6 or 7 years old. So those are my favorites. So again, I do have some favorites, but we love them all.
Yes, we do.
Right on, right on. Tell me a little bit more, about plant care. Maybe some people, let's get in here because that's a lot of what this book is about too. What are some key points to caring for your indoor plants that you would want people to come away with?
My philosophy on it is one
Yeah.
that's built around this idea of mindful neglect,
Mhm.
which works on some humans as well. But the idea is just, hey, I'm going to check in with you. All right. I'll check
Yeah.
in with you daily. But if
Yeah.
you're good, you're good. I'm going to be hands off. And most of the plants in the home environment, aside from a few more finicky ones or dramatic plants like peace lily that need more water more frequently, most of them are going to be fine. Like you're not going to have to worry
Mhm.
about doing something every single day. Like most of the time,
Right.
it's 7 to 10 days, depending on the time of the season. But if you're checking in every day, you're being proactive and you're catching signs of a nutrient deficiency. You're catching a pest infestation early, right?
Yeah.
Not, just coming back, 7 days later and watering without observing. So
Mhm.
it's more of a proactive stance to it in terms of checking in, but reactive in terms of your actual actions, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not just going to do something because I think you need it. I'm going to do it because you're showing me you need it. And the more you're checking in, the more you're going to start learning those languages and learning the signs. Pothos, like you mentioned, right? They're expressive, right? They'll tell you when they're thirsty. They'll tell you when
Mhm.
they need something.
Yeah.
Other plants are a little bit not as expressive. The fiddle-leaf fig, right? The notorious fiddle-leaf fig, very fickle.
Yeah.
They like, all right, I'm good. Oh, no, I just dropped 6
Yeah.
leaves,
Yeah.
right? So like, it really depends. And I brought fiddle-leaf figs back from the brink of death. You can chop them in half and they come back
Yeah.
strangely resilient. So there's a lot of lessons to be learned in plant care, but mine is just,
Calathea for me,
oh,
man.
I don't even
Back
bother.
to back to
I don't even
humidity
bother.
again.
It's just not worth it. I don't want to filter my water or leave it out to distill. Like, I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And again, too, part of what I think one of your big points you're making too is that we got to also remember, that these are plants we can't be so passive with them, as you were kind of mentioning, because they're living things in a way, you know, and we've got to be sure that we're caring for them, you know, and not that it's, again, you start the book too with a great talking about killing plants and, you know, that sort of thing. And we talk about it all the time, you know, in the gardening world, and garden teachers, you know, will always say, you know, I've probably killed more plants than I've grown, and that sort of thing, in the learning process and everything. But that is the learning process, right? That we're learning that we're caring for living, little living beings, if you will.
Yeah,
And we do got to kind of take a less passive approach to taking care of them, right?
totally.
Perfect. Yep, exactly. And let's, you know, another thing I thought was really kind of cool, I was noticing that you have as well, we got links to your website and everything down below, but you also, over on YouTube, put on a kids show. I thought
I
this was
do.
so fun. Again, next month too, for our book club and everything, we focus on kids' books and gardening and that sort of thing for kind of our back to school thing and everything too. And I thought it was really great. We've got to include the kids when it comes to our growing experience in the gardens and all that sort of stuff. And I think maybe too for you, and I don't know if it's the same, but I didn't necessarily grow up gardening. The similar, you know, similar story and that sort of thing. My parents weren't teaching me about
No.
growing and gardening and plant care and all that sort of stuff. So now I kind of have this more feeling of it's even more important. I have my granddaughter now. She's 2 years old, and I'm already getting her out in the garden and eating the strawberries and pulling stuff and doing things to learn and discover it all and everything.
Yeah.
But what was it along this process here that kind of inspired you to say, hey, you know what, let's do something and give some attention to the kids here in our garden spaces?
I didn't have plant or environmental role models growing up,
Yeah,
right? Like I
yeah.
wanted to be Steve Irwin and Michael Jordan, right?
Yes.
Like animals, there's so much for
Steve,
kids,
he's the
for animals,
greatest.
so much, right? But there's not a lot for plants. And especially as a man in the plant space, right? Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
gardening and flowers, all these different things, right? That's typically a female thing, right? That's
Yeah,
that's what women do. And that never sat well with me, right? And
right.
as a straight guy in the plant world, right? Like most of my friends are gay men and women. And
Mm-hmm.
then, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, if I want to show a young boy who might be more sensitive, who might have an interest, that hey, it's okay. Like you can be masculine and high energy and do all these different things and still care about the plants in your garden. That
Yeah.
was the kind of cornerstone for me to create the program. And it's basically just a passion project where I dress up as a plant and talk to myself and go through these different little projects and experiments while we're learning about different things. And it's a blast. It's a blast.
Yeah.
We're actually filming season 4 next week, which is very exciting. And it's
Yeah, that's
basically just
wonderful.
all built around this idea of how can we get young people to have fun and realize like, oh, like I could do this at home. This isn't hard.
Yeah.
And hopefully something that the parents enjoy watching too.
Yeah, start you know, start these kids off right at a young age, encourage them. And then again too, I think it's great as well too, because you might also, by connecting with some of these kids, bring their parents along with it as well too, and so
That's
you
the
get a little
idea.
double duty and that sort of thing. And I think that's great. Another thing about our show, our producer and other guests that we have and followers and watchers of our show love a good costume too. So
Yes.
for all of you out there, definitely go and check out Nick's website there too. It's got a link to his kids show. And what's it called again?
It's just you can just look up on YouTube Farmer Nick Jr.
Farmer Nick Jr.
Yeah, you'll find it there.
Yeah. A new Nick Jr. for everybody. That's perfect. Let's see. We had a question come in here. Do you have an old Thanksgiving cactus?
I do not. I have a Christmas cactus, not a Thanksgiving cactus, but they're very good plants, very sturdy, last a long time.
Yeah. Tell us, what is there the real big difference in these things?
Not a huge difference. I think it's like there's something different around the foliage and leaf shape, and then I think the color comes out a little different as well. But they're very similar, very sturdy, good plants to have around.
Different bloom times, I guess, then is probably some of the bigger differences, I suppose.
Yep.
Right on, right on. We had another question here too as well. Jay asked a little bit earlier, what keeps you excited about your work?
What keeps me excited about my work, the declining focus on environmental issues in our country. That drives
Yeah,
me more than anything, right?
yes,
When you're hearing about public lands being opened up for drilling and expansion and development, when you're hearing about all of these natural disasters that are getting worse and worse, and
yep,
seeing people struggling, right? So much of that revolves around plant choices, right?
yep,
There
yep,
would be fewer landslides if there were native plants that were appropriate to the region that had deep root systems, right? Like little
yes,
things like that all come back to plants and the impact that they have in our world. So lots of motivation lately.
yeah, yeah.
Probably continue to be a lot of things to
I think
fight
it's a
for.
like, never-ending pool of motivation when it comes to
Yes.
that for sure. And again,
Yeah.
too, really is kind of like the roundabout point that you get to through talking about the plant in the book as well, because it's a guide for caring for plants and the planet. So, again, making and driving that connection, showing people that connection with nature and plants can also have this added value, right? Because now people
100%.
see that connection and they can feel and know that connection a lot better, which then could kind of open their minds a little bit to more of these things that a lot of us just don't get to think about on our day-to-day lives, but it's becoming more and more important that we're paying attention to this stuff.
That's the plan.
Yeah, yeah, because again, we talk about it, and I think gardeners know a lot, really well, really, again, the plight of the land that we're trying to grow our food in, or our flowers, or however we garden and whatever we grow, we can see, again, just these different stories and different things that just kind of make us worry about what the future of things are. And again, getting back to the kids too, it's all about leaving a planet that's better for our children, right? And for me, grandchildren now and everything too. And that's why we should be focused more so. I mean, it's about what we leave behind more than what we're doing, right?
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Excellent, excellent. So again, tell us a little bit. You said you got a new 10-acre ranch or
Yeah, we've got
homestead, or
a
what are you
10-acre
doing here
homestead.
on this project? And is it this the birth of new projects?
Definitely never a dull moment when you've got that much land. Not all of it's flat, so we're trying to find some ways to do some sloped gardening and terrace gardening in certain areas. A lot of it's wooded, so it's not going to all just be food
Is this
growing,
still
of
New
course.
York too? In
This
the
is in Michigan.
Michigan.
My
Okay,
wife's from
excellent.
Michigan. We bought a house out here a couple of years ago now, and it's a blast. It's so much fun. Um,
Yeah.
we really enjoy the process, and it's one of those things where it's a lot of work, but when it is my work and it is my full-time passion and job, it makes it so easy. We just built a wildlife pond, which is really exciting.
Oh
Frogs have
yeah.
already started showing up.
Ponds.
It's been great.
I think that's the one thing I would want a big, big space for, is to have a big pond. I got like a little one that we can fit into this little one area, but to have a nice, properly nice sized pond that you could probably actually get into, I think that would just be fantastic.
Oh, it's so much fun. I need to make one bigger. This was the test run for kind of like a natural swimming pool situation, but
Hmm.
this one was purely for the wildlife, about 10 by 12 in size, so decent size, and it's coming out great. So I'm excited to share more about it.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. So, yeah, plenty of space now. Back to like you were mentioning before, getting to do indoor in-ground gardening now and do all that sort of stuff. Is there any sort of like new project that you haven't had a chance to do yet that's been kind of on your mind that you've been
So
wanting to do with this new space?
this fall, I'm going to put in a wildflower meadow
Oh,
uh,
yeah,
along one of the slopes there, right? They don't need super organic or fresh soil, right?
yeah,
I don't treat anything on my property with anything synthetic, of course. And
yeah.
wildflowers, native plants are great for that because
Hmm.
they don't need much, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to be putting that in.
Encouraging the proper predators, right?
Exactly. And we've already done the orchard, the raised bed garden, right? We planted the foundational landscaping, which is really exciting. So now it's just letting things come in and doing some of the more like fun projects. Like I don't need to do a wildflower meadow, but hey, I have the space, so we're going to let it go.
Exactly. And then when you're done with that, you're going to find something else that's going to be even more. And then again, luckily, again, too,
There's
you got a
always
nice space
something,
for.
there's always something.
There's always something. We're always growing more and more and more. So any other future book projects or anything coming up? Are you thinking of anybody trying to
Yeah.
get you to do a TV show again or anything like
There's
that?
always a couple things popping up here. Nothing's been enticing or that developed just yet. Book projects, I got a couple proposals that I really need to finish because my agent was mad at me for not sending those in. But something related to more the farming food side of things, and then another book focused on the kids. So
Okay.
hopefully that'll be something I can knock out before the end of this year. I gotta focus and buckle down a bit.
Oh man, well that sounds really awesome because as I mentioned too, next month September is our book club for kids. So we'll have to have you back on the show for maybe next September or something for a book that you do for kids and all of that too as well, because that would
Fingers
be
crossed. We'll see.
fantastic. But again, everybody, I encourage you all to go check out Plant Coach. I found this book to be really, really great, especially for those of you who are trying to figure out and learn how to care for your house plants a lot better. And even too, I thought was really kind of fantastic as well. In the back, you've got some cool like hands-on wood projects and other types of projects that you can put together. What was this one? I thought it was really cool. Oh yeah, you had the flight of plants table. There's a good way
I like that one.
to show off some plants in your growing spaces, and also it was the coffee table planter. Turn your
I
coffee
love that
table
thing.
into a
That
planter.
thing
That's just pretty
does so
fantastic.
well. You can do
That's fantastic.
cachet florals in it with water. It can hold water. It's really great.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, definitely check out this book here and other links down below in the description there to Farmer Nick. You've got his website there. You can go check out all the different things that he's got growing on. And like I said, go check out his little kid show, Nick Jr., Farmer Nick Jr. I think this is all just fantastic. I think you have just an amazing gardening and growing story, and I just really appreciate you coming in and taking your time to, for one, put up with all this technical issues here, but I'm glad everything worked out. We finally got in to be able to talk about a lot of this stuff because like I said, it's just, I thought just a really inspiring story you have, and again, glad that you came here to share it with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you got it for sure. So everybody, again, go check out those links down below. Go check out Farmer Nick, and we'll be right back here in just one moment. Finish all of this out. Thanks again, Nick. We'll see you around again soon.
So yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. You bet. All right. I think things. What a fun show. Again, you got to love it when you got to deal with all of these little technical difficulties and things that pop up when you're trying to do a live show like this. But I think for the most part, everything worked out all right. Just a little bit of trouble there at the beginning of that interview. But again, what a fantastic gardening and growing story there that Nick has. Again, like I said, I just really found his book to be really fun, inspiring, and full of lots of great information on growing houseplants. Like I said, thanks again to Nick for spending his time here with us today to talk all about that, and also as well Jan from the Alchemy of Gardening joining with us just a little bit earlier on in the show for our Are You Following Me segment. A couple of really great, wonderful guests. Just another amazing, fun conversations here on our Let's Get Growing show. So again, everybody, thank you so much for being here with us today and riding along with all of these little technical difficulties that we've had here. And again, just a real quick here, little rundown of last week's show. Go check our shows out with Jennifer Jewell from Cultivating Place. We had a really great conversation with Jennifer and talked about all sorts of just really awesome things. She was a guest for our book club back at our first year of the book club for her book, The Seeds We Sow. So again, it was really great to have her back on, have a really great conversation. We also got to meet Doug, another of the Coast to Coast crew from the Croc Gardener, on the show with us last Saturday. So again, we're having some fun around here now. Everything's really in the swing of it. Some really amazing, awesome guests join with us here each and every week. So go back and check out last Saturday's show if you didn't get a chance to. And then last Sunday edition was another appointment with Dr. Jeffrey Pierce. Yes, the doctor was in the house again. Last week, he joins us every couple months to talk about gardening as medicine, and we had a really fantastic conversation with him, talking all about the food that we grow, the nutritional value of the things we grow out of our gardens, and the importance of those that nutrition for us in our lives. And it's always great to get that kind of information from an actual doctor. I mean, how fortunate are we to have a medical doctor in the house with us here every couple of months? So you want to go back last Sunday's edition of the Let's Get Growing show and check out our appointment with Dr. Jeff last week. Really great conversation. And then we've got our Sunday edition coming up tomorrow. That's right. We're back at it again here tomorrow. We're here each and every weekend, as you know, Saturday and Sundays, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. And that means we're back again at it tomorrow for the Sunday edition of the show. And that is going to be this week. We've got Craig LeHoulier, author of the amazing tomato book, Epic Tomatoes. That's how amazing it is. It's epic tomatoes. That's right. But Craig is going to join with us to answer all of your questions about growing tomatoes. It's the second Sunday of the month, and we usually have our good friend gardener Scott joining with us on our second Sunday of the month to answer all of your gardening questions. But we'll have Craig with us tomorrow to answer your tomato questions, doing some tomato talk. It's always great to have Craig on the show with us. The last couple of times we had him on the show, we weren't able to get to all of the questions that everybody was asking because, again, as we talked with Nick today, and most of our guests that we have on the show, is that tomatoes are, that first big crop that we all really get to love and enjoy out of our garden spaces. So it really brings some excitement to have some tomato talk here on the show. So we'll have Craig back here, and hopefully we'll be able to get to most of your gardening tomato questions. But we will have Gardener Scott back with us again on the following Saturday. That's next Saturday's show. So for the next Saturday edition of the show, the Let's Get Growing show, we will have Scott Wilson from the Gardener Scott channel back with us again here to answer all of your gardening questions. It's been a little while since we've had Gardener Scott on the show with us. We've missed him for the last couple of months for his usual appearance with us. So we had to kind of make an adjustment and do some switching of some days and some things around on the calendar so that we could get Gardener Scott in with us to do some catch up. We gotta do some catching up with old Gardener Scott and see what he's been doing and how things are growing on and over in his garden and what types of garden adventures he's been on over the last couple of months. So definitely come and join with us next Saturday on the show to catch up with Gardener Scott with us. And next Sunday being the third Sunday of the month. That's right, third Sunday of the month. And that's our monthly gardening book club. Yes, we talk about this each and every week, but it's coming up next week. Mr. NBC, Mark Roche-Colbert, joins with us live on the show in the garden and co-hosting of our gardening book club conversation with this month's selection. We are featuring author Charlie Nardozzi in his new book, The Continuous Vegetable Garden. Yeah, you're not going to want to miss out on this conversation as well, too, with Mark and I, as we talk all about Charlie's really fantastic book. I've been really enjoying this book. I can't wait to talk with these guys about this awesome book for our book club next Sunday on the Sunday edition of the show. So right on, we've got lots to look forward to, lots that we've done as well. So either go back for some of our shows you missed out on, or again, make sure that you're clicking that subscribe button, hit that bell notification up there so that you can be notified of all of these upcoming live conversations here on the Let's Get Growing show. And before we head out, too, also click that like button, hit that thumbs up, and and also, like I said, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, bell notification, but definitely do some sharing. Help get the word out about this just really fantastic show that we have here each and every weekend. And I say fantastic because, it's just really amazing, this gardening community that we have. And this show is put on for you, the gardening community. I go and do all this work, booking all these just amazing, fantastic garden guests, these luminaries, as my good friend Mr. MBC says, these just amazing gardening communicators from all around the world who come and join with us for these fantastic gardening conversations where we get to learn more about them as people and gardeners and their experiences and all of that outside of the types of things that they're doing and sharing with all of us out there. So, again, let's make sure we get the word out there to folks and let them know about this really just fantastic opportunity to learn more about the gardeners in our gardening community here on the Let's Get Growing show, the show for the gardening community. Yes, so definitely share with them. Let them know that we're here every Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. And again, that's about 7 p.m. British Standard Time for everybody there. Greenwich Mean Time as well, over across the pond from us as well. And there's a couple of other time zones as well throughout this side of the world and that side as well too, that I know other folks come and join us on. But no matter what time zone you're in, I appreciate you all so much for being here with us. And again, one more big, huge shout out to Team Replay. If you're still here with us on the show, definitely drop into the comments section down below. Let us know you're here and let us know what you got growing on and all of that. I really love to hear from all of you, even if you're just dropping in and saying hello. And again, everybody, thank you so much. We did some fundraising over the last couple of weeks. There were lots of really great donations that came into the show to help us pay for some of our yearly bills that come due here for a live show like ours, and funds, hopefully, that we can get out and do some really fun things with the show as well too down the road. And if you haven't had a chance to donate yet or want to continue to donate on your time, check out the description down below to some links to some direct donation opportunities. We've got Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and also too, you can email me over at theurbangardener@mail.com. That's mail.com, not Gmail, but mail.com. Email me over there if you want to maybe do a mail-in donation. I can give you information for doing that, or any other suggestions and donation opportunities that you're thinking about. Go ahead and email me over there. And I really, again, appreciate everything that you guys do to help out the show. The donations are amazing. And again, thank you to Jay for doubling up the donations over the last couple of weeks. Really, really appreciate her and everything that she does for this show and helping us out. Everything that you guys have done, not only in the donations, but all the free stuff, the liking, the commenting, the sharing, all of those really, really important free things that you can do for the show. I just really greatly appreciate all of you and what you do to make this show so, so wonderful. I just can't wait for the weekend to come so that I can get to sit in this chair and hang out with all of you, just amazing gardeners in this just fantastic gardening community, and to be able to put on a show like this, even with a few little glitches like we had to deal with today. But really great anyways to get to hang out with everybody. So we've got some great shows coming up for you. Right back at it here tomorrow. I'll see all of you then.
This is the ugliest plant in the world, but I love it.